So I am a little bit concerned. I'm not gonna lie. I am a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot concerned, because this is not what you do. So Amber Cox talking about why they have 75 guards on the team. This is really, really not. If you are a competent organization, this is not what you want to see, and this is not what you want to hear from your quote unquote competent organization. But let's take a listen. This is from obviously Chloe Peterson and Brian Hanshin. And they talk for 20 minutes. You can go watch the video, but this is a 1.5 minute long clip about guards, and we're only going to be watching a small part of this as well. Let's take a listen.
Some gameplay, and very casually got back on the court and won the MVP at the qualifier. So happy for her. She's looked great. She's worked incredibly hard to be in a good spot from the first day of training camp. But to your point, Sophie and Ty have not played in game action. So what we don't want to do is overload someone that is coming back from injury. We expect them to be, available and practicing, but there's a difference between, not playing games or playing games. And so, that factored into some of the decisions in terms of having some guard depth to make sure that we are allowing these players to really ramp up in an appropriate fashion. I think, one of the learnings from last year was we don't want to play players 40 minutes every night. This schedule is incredibly difficult. We have a few back-to-backs, and even when they aren't back-to-backs.
So basically, they got all these guards because people got injured last year in that position. So we don't want to play people 40 minutes. So therefore, we will structure a roster so that if one of Sophie Cunningham or Lexi Hull get injured or out for a game, they either have to play 40 minutes or we're playing a 5'9" small forward. Like that's literally what they've done. Like they use Sophie Cunningham as depth, but like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull, ironically, should act as depth for the twos and act as depth for each other at the three. But the Fever are now at a stage where 5 of their 12 players are 5'9" and on, or are, yeah, I think is it 5'9", and then Caitlin Clark is 6 foot, and Caitlin Clark plays the one who can't really play off the one. Like, what does Caitlin Clark? Caitlin Clark will have to rep at forward, or Raven Johnson is going to have to rep at forward. Like, you had an actual 3 in Gianna Neepkins, and you passed up on her. Like, this team has 2 people capable of playing the 3. Like, you're not going to play Dantas the 3. You're not going to play Hege the 3. You have someone who might be capable of playing the 3 in Justine Bissot, who you're cutting from the roster. And not only that, all your training camp players are 2 guards. Are undersized guards.
Backs were playing every other.
Sorry. But this is just bringing PTSD from 2025. Apparently only guards can get injured now. Yeah. For a minute last year, Amber and Kelly were in hiding. Then Kelly deleted her Twitter due to all the backlash from free agency moves like Dawn Bonner and Tasha Howard. They're making full appearance before the dollar storm hits and the Fever again, per usual. But like that's the biggest thing, is that like they're like, oh yeah, we have one of our like forwards, and you might say Sophie Cunningham is a guard, but she plays as a forward. She plays the 3-4 for this team most of the time. So you're like, okay, yeah. So one of the players that we're getting depth for is a forward in Sophie Cunningham. So our depth for Sophie Cunningham potentially getting injured is signing another 5'9" and underguard. Like, doesn't make sense. Feels like prepare for the worst, hope to win kind of thing. They didn't prepare for the worst. They reacted emotionally last season, overcorrected. Yeah, it's an overreaction to a situation they helped create last season. Guards are much easier to play some forwards, and that's the worst part about this, is that if you guys don't know, like, well, you guys probably know, Natasha Cloud's still unsigned. There are Ari McDonald's still unsigned, by the way. Let's just say hypothetical. Touch wood, it doesn't happen. But Caitlin Clark gets injured for the season. The Indiana Fever can just sign Ari McDonald again. And they can just sign Ari again. Like, Ari is there. She's unsigned right now. I don't know what her injury status is, but like, she's there. The Indiana Fever can sign. They could sign all these guards. But like, the worst part is that like, if Caitlin Clark gets injured Well, to be fair, they are down to 2 point guards because Raven Johnson can play there. But we don't even know what Raven Johnson's role is going to be at the next level. Like one of their point guards, like literally, like Raven Johnson cannot put the ball in the basket. For an officer's clue, it's not just injuries. We can't even afford AB. Yes, the Indiana Fever, if Aaliyah Boston gets in foul trouble, they will lose a game. Like, I'm sorry. Like, they're prepping to play Dantas 20 minutes in certain games. Like, Mo Billings, and I've heard people be like, Mo Billings was a center in college. She should be able to play center in WNBA. It's like, no, she's not that physical presence on the inside. She's a good 4. I think she can shoot the ball. But she is not a 5. And the Indiana Fever their whole thing is, oh yeah, and again, this is just me just being annoyed, this organization, with them being like, oh yeah, we're better than everybody else, basically, from Amber and Kelly, what they've said. But it's like, everything is preparing. I've stood by this. Their entire off season is preparing for Caitlin Clark to be injured again. If Caitlin Clark stays healthy, and the worst part is that if Caitlin Clark stays healthy, this is an absolute disaster of an off season. If Caitlin Clark gets injured, this is a great off season. That's the worst part about it. We're like, oh yeah, Kelsey Mitchell can't play 40 minutes a game. It's like, well, yeah, Kelsey played 40 minutes a game in the playoffs because everyone got injured. If Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark are that much of an injury risk that you need to base your entire roster about preparing for them to be injured, then why did you re-sign Sophie and why didn't you trade Caitlin Clark when her value is still sky high? Rather than making an entire roster to prepare for Caitlin Clark being injured, if she is that injury prone, go and trade her. I mean that. Like, just as a smart organizational level, if you believe a player is so injury prone that you have to completely ruin the balance of your roster to prepare for them to be injured and make sure that her backup's backup has a backup, then trade her. If you believe Sophie Cunningham is so injury prone that you are bringing in a 5'9", another 5'9" player to back her up at the 3 for some reason, and you're preparing for that and you don't really want to play her right away, then why did you re-sign her? Like, being like, oh, Sophie Cunningham's got to get game reps in. Like, Sophie Cunningham got surgery last offseason, coming into last season. Sophie Cunningham never plays in the offseason. She missed an extra, 3 weeks of basketball? She got injured right before the playoffs. She missed, there was 3 weeks of basketball or something that she missed, on top of what she normally would miss. So you bring in an extra 5'9" player for some reason because Sophie Cunningham missed 3 weeks of basketball more than she normally would have. None of this makes sense.